All right, before we get started, going to give a big shout out to Randy Joe Taylor, who's the newest patron of the show. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out patreon.com/bigtruth. And basically that's a way for you to support the show. There's 4 different levels of support, and each have their own individual kind of benefits and extras that come with that. I appreciate all the listeners and all the subscribers and everyone who's left a review and shared this and spread the word. But the people on Patreon, I got to give an extra big shout out to, because they are putting their money where their mouth is and actually financially helping support the show. But if you want to get involved with that, go to patreon.com/bigtruth and you can check more out there. Now, we're slowly coming out of winter. Spring is around the corner, and then summer's going to hit. And once summer hits, you know what happens. It gets swampy and hot and humid. And if you got a dirty dingus, if you got a hairy dingus and ball sack, you're going to need to take care of that to, drain the swamp, so to speak. So check out our sponsors over at manscaped.com. They got a razor called the Lawnmower 3.0, which is a scientifically developed razor that uses these special ceramic blades, so you can go down there and don't got to worry about cuts, scrapes, abrasions or anything like that. Basically, you're not going to see no ball blood on your fingertips, and everything's going to go nice and smooth. So check them out. They also got a whole line of all these other products for grooming. They got a nose hair trimmer. They got a razor. They got ball toner, deodorant. They got anti-chafing creams. They got everything you need. So check them out, manscaped.com. And if you use the promo code BIGTRUTH at checkout, you'll get 20% off your order and free shipping. So go to manscaped.com, promo code BIGTRUTH at checkout. You get 20% off your order and free shipping. So you can't beat that. And if you are in the unfortunate situation where you happen to be in a motorcycle accident, you got to check out lawtigers.com. They are a motorcycle law firm for riders, by riders, and they specialize in accident stuff. So check them out, lawtigers.com. Or if you go on Facebook and you put Law Tigers plus your state, so if you're here in Massachusetts, you'd put in Law Tigers Massachusetts, and you get in touch with the local office. And that's probably the better route to go. But if you go to lawtigers.com or call their main 800 number, I'm sure they'll get you in contact with your local or regional office anyway. But you can skip that step and go right over to Facebook and do that. If you're into serial killers, vans, choppers, heavy metal, doom, stoner rock, antisocial activities, street weaponry, anything like that, you need to check out Heavy. It's my man Zach's clothing and merchandise company. You can check them out at heavy.bigcartel.com. Again, that's heavy.bigcartel.com, or on Instagram at Heavy Clothing. And while you're looking for new clothing, you need to check out Omerta Mia as well. Omerta, code of the streets type shit. So check them out, omertamia.com. They got anything you need, whether it's hoodies, shirts, tank tops, tees, fucking socks, fucking scarves, whatever, you know what I mean? Check it out. They got whatever you need, all rad designs and good dudes. So check them out, omertamia.com, on Instagram and all the social medias at omertamia. And again, if you use promo code BIGTRUTH at checkout over there, you will get 20% off your order as well. So win-win-win. Chop Cult, if you are into motorcycling or building choppers or anything, you need to be on Chop Cult, because it's a wealth of and plethora of information. They're the biggest online kind of information clearinghouse for motorcycle related stuff out there. It's a message board. It's all, divvied up by topic, so you can get more easily kind of get in the area of information that you're looking for. But they also have an online swap meet where you can buy, sell, trade, barter for parts. They got a news events page. They have an events page where you can see motorcycle, and chopper related events from anywhere in the world, that are going on, broken up by date and region and specific place. And they got a mailing list, and they send you a newsletter, all kinds of stuff. It's absolutely free to sign up. They don't ask for your credit card and no sketchy shit like that. So it's 100% free. Go to chopcult.com or on all the social media simply at Chop Cult. If you're in a punk, heavy metal, fucking hardcore, you want to check out pitchforkny.com. It's a clothing company run by my man Warren and a couple other homies. And they're fucking mainstay in the music, those types of music that I just listed. They also do a record label, and they do a special. It's like a special run called Back to School series. They're limited edition 7 inches, all on different limited collectible colorways, with an East Coast band on one side, a West Coast band on the other. Bands like Rancid, Murphy's Law, Sworn Enemy, Sick of It All, The Eulogy, Count Time, all kinds of stuff. Thug Riot, check it out. You won't be disappointed. A lot of stuff is sold out, but you can still get some stuff. So get it while it's still around, or you will be regretting it. If you're into motorcycles, check out my shop, especially if you're in New England. Come on by, because we're a brick and mortar shop with a parts counter, a showroom, and all that stuff. And come check helmets out, try them on for size. Don't guess online and have to play that game where you're buying a helmet, returning it, getting another one, because it's annoying for everybody. It's annoying for you. It's annoying for the dude you bought it from. But yeah, especially because, a lot of these helmet manufacturers, they changed their sizing a little over the last couple of years. So you got an old helmet and you go to buy the same size and now it's way small, this and that. So come in, check out. Spring's coming. You need new gear. Check it out. Chopperhead, 13 County Road, East Freetown, Massachusetts. We're a full-service shop, so if you need anything from an oil change to a full custom chopper built, we'll do that as well. And you can check our stuff out online, chopperhead.com, Instagram at chopperhead, Facebook is at chopperhead customs with a K. Basically any part you need, I can get. If you don't see it online, give us a call. I'm going to be working on the website soon to put way more stuff up. But until then, just give us a call if you don't see it on there. If I can't get it, you probably don't need it, probably don't want it. Yeah, and I'm sorry for my voice. I'm just in the middle of this COVID bullshit, but I'm still committed to the bit and still doing a podcast today. So, forgive my voice as we go through this. Last but not least, check out bigtruthpodcast.com if you want more information on the podcast itself, or get all past episodes and stuff if you're not going on Apple or Android or whatever. But yeah, give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, leave a review wherever you listen to it. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Android, it's anywhere, Stitcher, any other places where you get podcasts, it's on. And again, thank you for listening, and we're going to get started right now.
The Big Truth Podcast. Ladies, gentlemen, action! Get ready!
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
Yeah, once again, we got liftoff. I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Big Truth Podcast. And I'm here with my man today, Kevin Baas, who you may know as Teach. You might know him from the Bass Metal Craft days, or his large array of old Harleys that he's been posting online for years, or if you've seen him at shows, or, he's the teacher at the fucking... The main dude at teaching chopper building to high school students out there at was it Kennedy High, right?
Yeah, I was at Kennedy High for 22 years, and now started at a new school south of the river, close to my house, and still getting it going, man. Keeping the dream alive. And
yeah, man, fuck yeah, dude. So, we were just talking ahead, and again, just for the listeners on this episode, if I'm a little fucking dull today or phlegmy or something, I'm in the middle of the COVID bullshit, and I know you got some stuff going on at the household over there as well, huh?
Yeah, it's just crazy, man. I'm just over this COVID crap.
I know.
We can just move on and get our lives back. It's not having school all year has just killed me as a shop teacher. I'm just miserable.
Yeah, and well, you know what I mean. That's one of those things that you can't. Of course, right now is the first time fucking someone calls in, but yeah, a lot of teachers are doing stuff online, but you can't really do that with shop class, especially when you're teaching kids how to build choppers.
Right. It's been a challenge, like I'm still trying to let my kids design parts and things, and I'll just come into school, cut them with the machine. then they come pick them up. So it's at least still keeping them engaged enough where they didn't just check out on me, because you know how it is. A lot of the kids in these classes, all they're doing is hearing a WebEx meeting, looking at their teacher through a computer screen and just hearing blah blah blah. And you know, the kids check out real fast. I mean, I would too. I can't handle that. You know, I need to be up and doing stuff and making sparks, and that's how the students that take my class are. You know, and I just figured, well, what can I do so I don't totally lose them? You know, and I just said, hey, here's the deal, guys. You all have, I was able to get them all the software they needed at home so they could do their designs from home. Email me your files. I'll come in. I'll cut them. You come pick them up outside the door. And it's helped. You know, it's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. And, the kids are putting out some really badass stuff. You know, their designs and ideas are coming to life, even though COVID got them locked in the house. So, I'm happy to be able to do what I could do. And we're coming back full time in April here, so I'm in the shop right now, actually on Saturday, just working on getting new equipment set up and getting everything ready to go. So when these kids get here, like, I don't have to spend 3 weeks on safety and all the other stuff we would normally do if we were in here all year long. I want them in the shop, man, making stuff and doing stuff, because we only have 1 semester left when we get back. So clock's ticking, man, and lots to do. And I got kids to inspire and energy to get out there and get these kids positive, just mojo going. So they're excited about, the ones that are graduating, figuring out what they want to do, whether it's college or a job or whatever. And, I've been doing this for 26 years, man. And I love it. I still feel like it's my first year, because I have that passion, and you and we've hung out in the past. We've done a lot of stuff back in the day. And you remember when I was getting this off the ground, I mean,
yeah, man, not
too many people really knew about it. But a few of you guys, in the brotherhood there, who met me and saw, like, at the smokeouts early on and whatnot, and were like, hey, this dude's really not full of it, and you guys that stuck with me, man, you helped me grow it, and it's crazy where it's gone to now. I mean, you think about 20 years ago, it's some idea of a shop teacher building a panhead chopper for the smokeout, and it turned into what it has today, which still blows me away.
Yeah. Now, you said you had the kids kind of designing parts. What kind of parts are they designing?
We have 3 different bikes in the shop right now that are kind of class bikes. So I'll give them an assignment, hey, we're going to make a gas tank, like a coffin gas tank. You guys make a template at home, cut up some cardboard, look online, do some research. Then once you get your cardboard template done, send me, take measurements, draw that up in CAD, send me your files, or even just signs, like kids are making really cool signs for, like, especially like holiday season, like Christmas time, that, all my kids are making Christmas presents. They don't go to the store and buy something that was made in China. They actually create and build and design and make something that, it's from the heart. So it's like, it's a gift that their parents and their grandma and grandpa are just in tears when they get it. Cause it's like, not only is it personalized where you can't get anywhere else, but to know that the kid actually put his heart and soul making it, it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, sure, yeah, that's rad. So, like, just why don't you get into a little history of the kind of, like, because it's probably interesting for a lot of people. Like, you're in a technical high school, or it's a technical high school, right?
No, it's just a public high school.
Oh, okay. And then so you just have a class where you teach kids how to build bikes and then other metal working type of, like, fabrication stuff. Like, how did it come about? And kind of give a little history of the program and what are some of the stuff you guys do? Like you said, you got a few bikes going on now and stuff, but, like, how does it, like, run through the program, the history, and how it works.
Right on. All right. Well, the history of it, I graduated high school in 91. I grew up around old Harleys. My dad has, panhead chopper. He's got a 64 police special, the sidecar. He's got an old 77 shovel chopper that he's had forever. And, so I grew up around him. My mom rides an old Sportster and a shovel head. And it's like, it was in my blood that I was going to be doing stuff with motorcycles. And when I went to school to be a shop teacher, because, in high school, I wasn't that sit in the front row A+ kid in all my other classes, but when you got me in the shop class, I was A+ down the board. And my parents saw that, my shop teacher saw that, and they just said, "Hey, you're really good at these hands-on trades. We get it. You don't want to sit down and you don't want to listen. You want to do." And I started becoming like the class, student assistant in my shop classes and advanced classes where I was teaching kids stuff, and my teachers were like, "Man, you got a knack for this. You should pursue a degree in tech ed." be a shop teacher. And, it's like, you know what, I think it sounds good to me. Let's do it. And I went to school for that, got out, started teaching at a high school up in Bloomington, Kennedy, where I was for 22 years. And honestly, when getting a job wasn't real easy back then in tech ed. There was just, I got in right as retirees were going to be starting. So I got lucky getting a job right away. A lot of guys didn't, but I had to take a job that wasn't necessarily the right fit for me as far as what I was teaching. Like I had to teach them electronics and aviation, stuff that wasn't really my hardcore passion. I wanted to be in the welding shop and metals and that kind of fab stuff. But anyway, I knew if I got my foot in the door at the school, just did the best I could with what I had, as these other guys were going to retire, then I'd move up the ladder and be able to take over the classes I really wanted. So when that happened and I got into the metal shop, I actually only had one class of metals that first year. And this must be probably 99, 2000 maybe. And I knew, though, that metal shop was where I wanted to be. So I pounded the pavement, man. I was getting anything I could for the class to try to make it better and just spreading positive energy about what we do in there. And then the kids started talking. The kids that were in the class were recruiting other kids. And next thing you know, fast forward, about a year and a half, 2 years later, I tripled my enrollment, and I was actually down in the metal shop full time, and I didn't have to teach any of the other classes, which was awesome.
Yeah.
So then I'm in there full time. Well, now you're looking for what can we do to engage the kids. I mean, yeah, when you're taking a welding class, obviously you want to weld a lot. Welding is what you do. But what I've learned, even with my old welding classes, is I love the weld, and I like seeing two pieces of metal getting joined together in a nice bead, but if you're not actually making something cool, it gets kind of boring. Like, okay, another weld, throw it in the garbage can when I'm done. It's like, I was like, what can I do to make it fun for me to teach and fun for the kids to learn? And the choppers just was a great fit. There's so much fabrication to build a custom bike that it was a perfect fit. And I just, I got in at the right time. Motorcycle stuff was just starting to really peak. You turn on a TV and every goddamn show you saw was, a motorcycle show of some sort, building bikes, choppers, build offs, and you name it. So then I was able to start hitting all these events and promoting what I was doing. And actually my first reply I got was from Paul Cox and Indian Larry, because I said, hey man, I'm building a 1957 Panhead with my students in class. I'm looking for inspiration. I'm looking, we dig your side mount remote oil filtered stuff. We're just, wondering if you could lend us some input, give us some advice, maybe, can give us a deal on an oil filter, that kind of stuff. And, and it was crazy because Larry and Paul, they right away were like, I emailed the same story to everybody, and honestly, even like, I don't want to be bashing anybody, but like, in the heyday of like Orange County Choppers, they sent me a reply, we can't donate nothing to you, but make sure all your kids keep watching our show. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I got all these little broke mom and pop shops sending us carburetors and stuff, and they're hardly keeping their lights on. You got millionaires that say, oh, no, we can't give you anything, but make sure you keep our ratings up so we make more money,
Yeah.
And that wasn't how like Larry and Paul and a lot of these guys, especially the whole family of that smokeout kind of era.
Yeah.
Bailey Lane and everybody. But Larry and Paul were like, they actually called me and said, all right, what's the deal here? And probably feeling me out to make sure I wasn't full of shit, just saying, hey, I want some stuff or whatever. But and when I laid it out and showed them what I was doing, they were like, oh man, they were totally into it. And it was like, yeah, we want to help. So Paul actually said, hey, you guys make a seat pan, send us a seat pan, and I'll do my leather tooling on it for you. And then Larry sent the remote oil filter kit to put on the bike. So it was pretty cool because that snowballed it, where then I could say, hey, Paul and Larry are on board, and then they would tell people about what I was doing, and then it started to really spread. People started seeing the credibility, and year after year, we were knocking out some just really top notch bikes, and the kids were doing awesome. And I was keeping a lot of kids who weren't traditional good kids in school. I was keeping them out of trouble, and they were getting all this recognition at the local bike shows. It was giving them pride, sense of just fulfillment that, somebody believes in me. I can do well. I'm not just a troublemaker. And I really gravitate to those kids because I was one of those kids, and if I didn't have positive energy, taking all my negative energy and turn it into something good, who knows where I'd be right now. I might be in jail or dead.
Yeah.
And I want to keep passing that torch of positive energy and hope to these kids so that, I can have generations of kids who will remember me helping them be a better person. Hopefully they'll be talking on a podcast someday about how they got their start in the classes and whatever,
Yeah, yeah. Has there been any kids that have gone on to do motorcycles as a career?
Yeah, I quite a few, and some of my biggest ones that I really, proud of. I'm proud of them all, but with the ones that I still even talk with and became good friends with. One of my first year chopper class students, he went on to become an engineer for Indian, nice. And it was pretty cool because a bunch of years ago we were doing a little event over by S&S Cycles every summer to raise money for my class called the Knuckle Shuffle, and he showed up at the Knuckle Shuffle, rode out there with me. And while we were, on the Saturday, like doing bike awards and stuff, he pulled out this little tube and said, "Here you go, Baas. This is for you. I want you to have this." I opened it up, and it was his first patented part that he made for the Indian. And he wrote a little note on it saying, "Thanks, Baas. This wasn't possible without you. You made my dream come alive." So that was pretty deep, man. We were hugging in tears, and it was neat. And I got that poster in my shop now to kind of always keep reminding me of why I do it. When times get tough,
sure.
You got to remember you're helping kids, even if you don't see it right away. They come back years later and they remember you.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I'm sure too, like, 'cause, the mundaneness of school, like for a lot of kids, and then to be able to go into a shop and, build a panhead or whatever you got going on that year, you know what I mean? I'm sure that's something that just sticks with them, even if they don't follow up and go into that as a trade or anything, but still, like, I'm sure that was a good experience, that a lot
Go ahead.
I was to say that a lot of kids don't get nowadays, like, building a bike, like, you know what I mean? There's not a lot of high school kids doing that, so.
Yeah, and then there was that big wave where high schools are cutting shop. Oh, everybody's going to college. They're all going to be doctors and lawyers. Like, wait a minute, what are you doing?
Yeah,
You're killing our country here, I mean, yeah, we need those kind of people, but, man, right now, in this day and age, our industrial park over here in the town by my school, there's almost a help wanted sign in every company.
Yeah.
So there's so much opportunity that you can go right from doing stuff you love in my class and make good money, man. You can get the hours, you can get the time, you can be successful and not have to have $40,000, $50,000 of college debt.
Yep.
So it's exciting, man. It's like I've been doing it, like I say, like 26 years, I guess now, and I still, like I was telling you earlier, I still feel like it's my first year because I'm always that excited about seeing the kids, and we feed off each other, man. They keep me young. I learn from them, and it's pretty awesome, man. I love what I do. I feel blessed to be able to do what I do. And, I hope I can just keep it going for another 20 years before I retire.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, so with the bikes, do you guys, like, at the end, you like tear it down and start it again? Or is it like, are you always doing new stuff, or like, how does it work?
Yeah, we used to, like, it back in the heyday, like, we were getting a lot of stuff donated. We were on board with Baker Drivetrain, and Sucker Punch Sally was giving us rollers for a while, and George Coons of Spartan was on board with us. A lot of these really guys that are building really cool stuff were helping us out, and obviously things have slowed way down since those days, so it's been getting tougher and tougher. And I never wanted to be that hand that had my hand out open saying, "Gimme, gimme, gimme." I mean, I appreciate anything I got, and I never expected anything. So if I didn't get something, I wasn't mad. I didn't, it was like, I understand totally. I was just reaching out to see. And a lot of times I would just reach out asking if I could just get like a educational discount. And these guys would just say, we'll donate, man. Don't worry about it. And so that was cool. And then back in those days, we were able to build bikes, show them, and then sell them, auction them off. And the money would go back in my school account for more tools, equipment, and whatever. But then, politics starts to play their hand and everything. They want to know what's going on, where it's going. Wait a minute. So, it started to get to be like liability issues where, well, if you sell a bike you built, somebody crashes on it, they could say it's because it wasn't built right, we could get sued, blah, blah, blah. So long story short, the selling of the bikes just became too much of a liability and a hassle. And so then, we started doing, like you said, where we build a bike, and, after those kids have graduated, we'll take it apart. They'll change stuff up for their own style, build it again, and some of the kids will bring in their own stuff, which is cool. Then we can just do their bike. But it's kind of a revolving door with the bikes we have now. Like they'll never be sold that are in here. And I still try to bring some of my personal stuff in, like an old knuckle or something to work on, just so they can kind of get that experience, that vintage bike addiction.
Yeah.
And that stuff, obviously, I pay for all that. And it's mine. It's separate from the donated school stuff that stays here. So, yeah, it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. I tried helping a lot of schools get it going, and it's only stayed flying. I think at one school, my buddy Steve Jones in Eden, New York, is still doing it. He's an awesome dude. But a lot of teachers realize it's not just get a bunch of free stuff and a bike magically appears. It's like you got to put in the time, man. You got to know what you're doing.
Yep. You
got to be able to direct 35, little kids with tools and equipment to build something cool that's going to be functional, reliable, and safe, and look cool.
Yeah.
So a lot of people came and went, just like a lot of shops did. There's a lot of shops that were, we're new chopper builders. Take out a huge loan, buy a big truck and trailer, and next thing you know, they see that stuff on Craigslist with the sale sign.
I know, it's crazy. And especially more back in the day, like the heyday you're talking about. Remember, we'd go to the smoke out, and there was the same core group of dudes that would all meet up and party and have a good time. And then you'd always see these new dudes show up with these huge trailers and this and that. And it's like, man, how the fuck? Who are you? How did you get all this? You know what I mean? And then you don't see them again the next year, and it just shit came and went. But yeah, so that's cool, man. That you've been able to keep this going for a couple decades, and who knows how many kids? Have any idea of how many kids have gone through your class?
Yeah, you know what? That's actually a good question. I need to look that up.
Yeah.
That would be crazy just for me. I mean, it's going to make me feel like a super old man now, but I'm going to be turning the page to 50 here in a couple of years, and I'm like, wow, I remember picking on my dad when he was turning 40, like, you old fart, you're 40. And I'm like, now I'm 40. I'm going to be 48 in May. And it's like, 50's knocking on my door. To me, when I hear you're 50 years old, that sounds old, man. It's like, 50, man. That's,
I know.
20s, 30s, he's still a young punk. But when you get to be like 50, it's like, damn, that's an old man now, man. You're getting up there.
I know.
I hope I can keep, like my dad's 71. You met my dad. He's still ripping on that Panhead, and mom's still riding. She battled breast cancer and was sick for a while here the last year. And dad actually got her an old shovel head with a sidecar so she could keep riding. So
nice.
It's in my family blood. It's not like something I just jumped on a bandwagon. I've been born and raised in it.
Yep.
And it's just, I just, like I said, I feel fortunate to be able to do this. I don't take anything for granted, and I don't expect anything. Everything that I get comes from hard work. And that's what I teach my kids. I teach my children that, nothing's free, nothing's easy. And if you're sitting on the couch whining that, life's not fair, I don't make enough money to do this, and that. It's like, well, guess what? Get off that couch and start a side business. Do something else. Work some more hours. There's a way to do it if you get off your butt.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what kind of equipment do you guys have at the shop that you're training kids on? Like, I know you had them doing some stuff with like some programming and stuff, but like when they're going through the shop, like what kind of things are you teaching them on?
So as far as equipment wise, my new school here I'm set up real good. Like I got recruited down to come to Lakeville North here in Lakeville, Minnesota. They saw me in 2015. I won the Fox 9 Top Teacher Award here in Minneapolis, so that kind of got me on the radar of some schools that are kind of looking for good people to help rebuild programs.
Yeah,
and I was able to get recruited down by them, come here, and they basically said, "Hey, this is your baby. We saw what you did at your old school. We want you to recreate it here, but we're going to give you money for new equipment. And we have community support. We have industry support in town here." So go and make your dream shop that'll help our kids be the most successful, well-rounded, future-ready students we can. So I was able to just go to town and really get some cool stuff. So I think we're the only high school in the world right now that has a water jet cutter. So I got a 4x4 water jet.
Nice.
That came from Bailey, and we have 2 CNC plasma cutters. So we have a 4x4 table and a 4x8. So we're able to cut lots of stuff, and I can really get the kids moving. I got 15 stations of MIG welding, all brand new Miller welders, Miller Matic 252s, and then I got 5 stations of TIG welding, and we always use Miller because they always sponsor us. So hats off to the Blue. And so the kids are able to start off with just a little bit of stick welding, move down the row of the MIG welding, get into the TIG welding, and start mastering their skills, And we got big metal time saver. I got 3 lathes. I got 5 Bridgeport mills. We got a big Bailey hydraulic shear that can cut up to 1/8-inch thick plate, so the kids can shear their own welding tickets for practice and whatnot. I just put on a wood shop, so we got basically a full wood shop now with a 4x8 CNC router. So now the kids, because with my creative outlet, my side business, Bass Metal Craft and Little Fish Design stuff with my wife, we make a lot of really cool signs at home. And I've had a CNC plasma cutter in my home shop for almost 20 years too. And teaching the stuff that I do at home, it really helps you to teach it better, because I can give them my experience from my business standpoint when I'm not at school. And, some of my kids are, the light bulbs going on for cool stuff they can create, mixing metal and wood. And we have 3D printers now. We have 16 3D printers, so they can 3D print cool, just little things like our foundry. I want to start casting little shift knobs, custom shift knobs, so the kids can design a shift knob, 3D print it, and then take that and cast it. So it's fun, man. And we got a whole new STEM lab with all engineering software. So we have all kinds of CAD programs. We got Photoshop and Illustrator for design work. And it's I'm walking through this place. I'm actually in here right now, and it just gives me chills to see how far it's come. This is only my 4th year at this school. So I hit the ground running. The first year was just gut the place, get rid of all the junk that didn't work, and clean up the mess. And then the second year was start to come up with a game plan. Third year was get stuff ordered and put it in place, get it running. And then obviously we got hit with COVID. That really kicked me in the shins. So so I got this beautiful lab. Like right now I'm walking through this beautiful lab, all this new equipment, and the kids haven't been in using it all this year, which breaks my heart. But knowing that they're going to be coming, and hopefully next year we'll be back full time, this stuff's going to be going nonstop, and I'm going to be inspiring these kids to believe in themselves and understand that I believe in them, and I got their back, and I want to help them be successful. There's nothing they can't do, and I'll make sure that they always understand that, and they always learn that it's not going to come for free. You're going to have to work for it. It's not going to be easy. You got to work for it, but if you do, it's going to happen, man, and you're going to have good things, and you have a good life.
Yeah. So how does it work? Do you kind of go through different segments with them? Like, all right, first we're going to work on welding, and then we'll work on, CAD design, or get on the lathe, or is it is there kind of like a plan to it like that, or? Yeah.
So my intro class is so I kind of restructured the classes too now. So we used to have just a standalone metals class.
Okay.
And then a separate class they could sign up for, which was welding. Well, you and I know metals and welding go hand in hand. You don't need separate classes, especially if you're running where the kids can take it continually throughout the next 4 years of their career, So I put those two together and created, it's called manufacturing, metals, and welding. So it's a combination of that with that manufacturing, engineering, design piece kind of at the front. And that helps kind of hook some kids too, So you're not just trying to get kids who say, "Well, I'm not smart enough for college. I'm just going to take a shop class." It's like, no, man, we want kids that are smart and AP students and going to college too, because this is good. This is good design. Our engineers, man. If our engineers know how to weld and know how to build stuff before they get their engineering degree, they're going to be a way better engineer than these ones that never touched a shop class. And now they think they can design all these parts and don't know how they're made,
Absolutely.
So it makes the kids more well-rounded and understand that. And so in my intro class right away, manufacturing, metals, and welding, I hook them by doing CNC plasma cutting right off the bat. Because, I've done signs for you. You know how they are. I mean, we can do some really cool signs.
Yeah.
And when the kid makes his first sign and takes it home and everybody's blown away at how cool it is and they can't believe he did it in class, they're hooked, man. The excitement's there. Then we can get into, okay, now we're going to use the CNC plasma cutter to cut some parts out that you need to weld together to make a sculpture. We do little dinosaur sculptures. And just, I've had kids make replicas of their car, truck, or drum sets, you name it. Just cool stuff to incorporate the technology, but also the hands-on welding piece. So we do that, and then obviously I start working them through the intro to welding stuff and how to do welding and be safe in the shop, and then We get into CAD design, how to design parts now that you're going to cut. It's fun, man, because you just, I don't really have it set where it has to be exactly this way every year, because I feed off the kids,
Sure.
as a teacher, you want to see, like, sometimes you got talent that just blows you away and you move way faster than other years, So it's always, for me, I feel out the kids, because I want every kid to be successful. I don't want to leave any kid behind. I don't want any kid to ever feel like, oh, I can't do this. I wasn't good enough. It's like, no way, man. We're all going to win in this class. I'm going to make sure of it, and I even have it on the wall where it says, there's no such thing as failure here. It's just a stepping stone to success. Because we all make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. And if I would give up and say, oh, man, I screwed up. Yeah, I'm just going to quit teaching. I'm done. I'm a failure. That's not a way to be thinking. Like, you got to look at, all right, man, I screwed up. That wasn't right. But now I'm going to sit down and I'm going to realize what I did wrong, why it went wrong, why it didn't work. And now what can I do to do it a second time, but make it, knock it out of the park and have it be what I want, and that's a skill kids need. And they don't get that a lot of places.
Yeah. Perseverance. Yeah. But, so when do they actually start getting involved with like putting a bike together?
So that's kind of like I'm doing it kind of like a capstone project for my advanced kids, my level 3, 4 kids. So by the time they get to level 3 and 4 in my manufacturing metals and welding, they know how to run all the machines in here. I could say, hey man, I need a set of wheel spacers for this, spool wheel. Take some measurements, go make them up, and I know they can do it, So
Yeah.
at that point, they kind of earn the right. And not everybody gets to work on the bike. It's not just a free for all. I have to actually make it so these kids have to earn the right to work on it.
Sure.
And it's great though, because it really pushes them to do better in the intro stuff and the maybe not so fun stuff. Because I tell them, I said, everything you do in here is a test. You're going to do stuff you totally love, and it's going to be like what you dream about getting up to do the next day. And you're going to have to do some stuff in here you totally hate. And you're like, oh man, I got to finish that, sand cast tomorrow or whatever it is. And it's like, you got to give me 100%, whether it's your favorite thing or your worst thing. Because when you go to work for somebody, 9 times out of 10, they're going to give you some crappy job to start to test you, see how you react to it. And I always use this analogy because I actually had a student this happened to, and he actually didn't work out because of this. And the deal was, company looking for a good kid, hands-on, design, manufacturing, engineering type place. They had welders in there and all kinds of CNC equipment. So, yeah, you got any good kids? And I talked to my students. Yeah, I had one really good kid. He was smart, real smart kid. And I referred him. He went over there. He took the job. The next day, he shows up for work, and they give him a broom and say, hey, can you sweep around all the mills and lathes and just kind of tidy up the place? And he was pissy about it. Like, I didn't come here to sweep the floors. I'm not a floor sweeper. I'm not a janitor. What he didn't know was it was a test, and he failed that test by having that attitude.
Yeah.
And the deal is with that is, they gave him that broom to see how he was going to sweep around the machinery because they were already getting him ready to actually use the machine. What do you need to know about a machine if you're going to use it? You got to know how to clean it up, right? And you got to see what kind of mess it's going to make so you understand it. So they did that to him to see how he would do that, and he failed that test. And and then the next day he came back, and they said, "Hey, you didn't do a good job sweeping, and you didn't get it done. We need you to go back in there and do it again." And he same deal. So they said, "This isn't working out. Got another kid." Gave him another kid.
Yeah.
Same job. This kid kicked ass at it. He was smiling. He swept up. He cleaned up. He got done early, and he went up to him and said, "Hey, I got that done. What else can I do?" That kid passed the test. That kid moved on with them. He's actually running machines for him now. So I tell my students this as a story, and everybody listening, man, should use this as a, something in their pocket too to remember is that, when you get a crappy job or life gives you something that's not exactly what you want, well, suck it up, buttercup, man, and do it. Do the best you can, because the only way you're going to get out of that and do something better and be valued by an employer or a company is showing them that you're willing to go to battle for them, whether it's sweeping the floors or running a $3 million machine. And when you prove that to them, they're going to invest in you, and they're going to spend money on you to get you more education and move you up the ladder. And you're going to be running that company someday. But if you can't even sweep the floors for them right, they're not going to invest in you, because now what do they see? They see a kid who's going to be a pain in the ass every time he's got to do something he doesn't want to do. And they don't want to invest in that. So good life lesson there. That's a story I still tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's not even just a good one for kids. It's a good one for people
Right.
of all ages, But
Yep.
but yeah, so yeah, man, and so what you said you had 3 bikes in the shop now. What are the 3 bikes that you guys are working on? Well, or will be working on when they get back?
Yeah. So I got it's a '98 Softail. So it was kind of cool because one of the guys that works with my students that's at Polaris Victory Indian, the Indian student, one of his coworkers is in the bikes, and when Clark was telling him my story, he was interested in it. He came and saw the class with Polaris and Indian and that, and was part of this. Well, the minute I moved schools to Lakeville North, I get a call from him right away, and he's like, "Dude, that's where I went to high school. He's like, that's my alma mater." He's like, "Oh man," he goes, "I'm in." "I want to see it. Start there for sure." And he's like, "Well, I'll tell you what. My wife's uncle has an old Softail that's been sitting in the barn. It's been, it hasn't been covered. It's rusty. It's, we don't even know if it'll run. But he says, I'll donate to you. That can be your guys' first chopper that, for the class to keep." So that was cool. So that's still sitting here. So the first year the kids just stripped it all the way down. I mean, it was rusted everywhere, and they sanded and they cleaned up, and they had stuff powder coated and, just fabricated parts. So that's still sitting here. It's not quite done yet. Then we got a crashed 1200 Sportster that was brought in that we're going to make like a little kind of a flat tracker out of it. I think not really a chopper. Those little sporties, I think they look cooler as a little race bike rather than trying to stretch them out and make them look like a big chopper. So we'll do some little race bike on that. And then I got a 1955 KH Flathead Harley that we're actually doing as a flat track racer right now. And I brought it home. I've been doing most work at home right now with the time off and just sending kids pictures of what's going on and whatever, and posting some videos. But I'll bring that back in when school starts so the kids can help me finish that. And then I'm hoping that will inspire their designs when they take apart this crashed 1200 Sporty and come up with some concepts of how we want to rebuild it.
Nice. Yeah, that's.
And then I got another knuckle project in the works. I got a 46 motor that needs to be rebuilt. It's actually sitting in. I don't know if you remember. I think I had it at the hardtail party that one year you were there with me. It was that silver Panhead, silver with kind of the blue and green crazy, funky stripes on the tank.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I just got that bike back from my buddy that I had sold it 2 years ago, and he had taken the motor out for another project, took the wheels. So I ended up buying that back, and I'm going to keep the bike to look the same as far as the gas tank fender and all that. But I'm getting a 46 knuckle motor that I got built to put in it, and then I got an old 15-inch the magnesium 12-spoke American Racing rim for the back. So it's got the cool little car tire on there. And then a guy out of California made me cast me a 21-inch 12-spoke to kind of match it. So it'll be cool, and I'll probably roll that in here too next year and let the kids kind of see that. Because to me, me, man, I love old stuff is my passion. It just fuels my soul, and I love bringing in projects, and and it's not a sweatshop like some people that don't know what's going on. Just say, oh, he's just having the kids build his bikes for him. It's like, think about what you're saying, man. I'm not going to bring a 1946 knuckle in here and just say, yeah, go ahead, kids, have at it.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, and so I'll bring them in here and there, and they don't stay in here all the time, but like with cool stuff, I'll bring it in, show them how to do this and that, and explain it. But then these kids really appreciate the old iron, and honestly, they start to see how, man, this old stuff is really cool. It doesn't have to be a 35,000-inch front tire big wheel bag or whatever the hell the trend is. It's like, this is cool 50 years ago. It's still cool now. It's going to be cool 50 years, so it's not going to go out of style,
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah, man.
And then I got some Bronco projects. So I'm doing a 78 and 79 Bronco. So my new school here, I do have a garage door and a base. I'm going to put a 4-post car lift in here so then the kids could bring in their vehicles if they want to, do oil change, rotate tires, if they want to work on some rust repair. I got a whole bunch of metal tubing. So, hey, you want to build a bumper for your truck? Bring it in. Let's do it, And so that'll be a cool aspect too. So when the kids get to my advanced level, they don't have to do the chopper. but that's an opportunity if they want to try to work for it. Otherwise, they'll have opportunities to work on their vehicles. I'm going to be working on like school to work, where they can actually go to some of these businesses in town and leave my class to go make some money during the class time and actually have like an internship.
Sure, yeah.
And so, yeah, just lots going on, man. My mind's always spinning and never ending.
Absolutely, yeah. 79 Bronco, man. That's a badass. It's a badass Bronco.
Yeah, that was my high school one, so it's pretty cool. When I was 16, I turned 16, and I had a little junker car my dad and mom gave me, and drove around for a little bit, saved my money, and I bought a 78 Blazer with a 7-inch lift, 38.5-inch groundhogs on it. The thing was just rotted to the bones. It was junk, but it had a good motor. It looked cool. I had fun in it. We'd take all the boys mudding in it, and I bought a body tub from Texas. My sophomore year of high school, I think, sophomore or junior, I ordered a body tub. Some company was going to Texas, picking up rust-free parts on junk cars out there and hauling them back. So I got a hold of them, and they found me a 78 Blazer tub, hauled it back. I bought it, ripped the body off this rusty one, put that one on it, and got it fixed up kind of the best I could. But I always had my eye on the Broncos. I loved, there's only those 2 years of that Gen 2 Bronco 78, 79s. I just loved the way they looked compared to the square body Chevy. The Broncos got better lines to it, and just I loved it. And so I sold that 78 Blazer to buy the 79 Bronco, which actually my cousin had. So that was cool. And then I drove that until I graduated, parked it next to my dad's barn, went off to college thinking I'd be coming back to get it, a year or two. Well, honestly, it was two summers ago I finally hauled it back up here to dad's barn for 20 some years. So now I'm like, you know what? I showed it to my boys. I got pictures when I was a young punk with a mullet standing next to it. And I said, hey, let's do a little father-son, and you guys can help me fix this thing up, because obviously you'll get it someday. I'll never sell it. And so I'm excited to do that. I'll probably do some stuff in class here with the kids, do some stuff at home with my kids. And then I just, now that I kind of got the Bronco bug again, seeing that come back, I've been kind of just cruising Craigslist and eBay looking at stuff, and lo and behold, about 2 months ago, I come across a really cool 78 Bronco with a 460 big block in it. It was an old custom show truck from Texas back in the early 80s. Huh. Still got a Texas sticker on the windshield, and the roof's got like dual moon roofs they put in it. It looks like they use like some RV windows or something to put them in the top, custom interior. And when that truck came to Minnesota, I think like 10 years ago, well, Minnesota salt kills these things, so it got beat pretty bad in their salt, and there's some rust and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, so now that I got that one, I'm just going to drive it and kind of do some minor stuff to that while I'm doing the full resto of the 79. Yeah. Then once my 79's done, then I'll take the 78 and kind of put him in the chopping block to do a little better cleanup and just make it something nice. Because these trucks will never see winter or salt again. I don't want them. I don't want them to rot away.
Yeah, that's like, so. Yeah, I mean, same thing here in New England. Like, especially like Broncos were pretty notorious for rotting out, like the tailgates and all that shit. But yeah, like our salt devastates everything as well.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast. It's just within 1 or 2 years you can see it just eating away everything. It's like, damn.
Yeah, I bought a C10 off my buddy in Arizona years ago, and there was one winter where it had to be on the road just for like a week or so in the winter, and just that one winter, it rotted out, like, you know what I mean? Like it rotted a bunch of 2 panels out, you know what I mean? And that shit gets up in there in those cracks and crevices that you can't just wash off, and it just turns into cancer. It just starts eating from the inside out. Yep.
So it's kind of crazy, going from the 2 wheels to the 4 wheels, but I'm actually kind of excited because it's kind of a new challenge for me, It's like, hey, something different.
Sure, yeah. No, I know. It's the one thing with a bike is like you can pretty much reach everything yourself. There's pretty much most things you can do by yourself. There's some shit with a truck or a car that unless you've been trained or know tricks and trades, like you need another set of hands for sure. You know what I mean? Or it seems like that to me, like when I'm doing stuff.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking that in my head too, and that's why I thought, well, it'd be good with my boys, have them help me and they can learn a few things.
Yeah,
should be cool.
How far gone is that? How far gone is that 79 that'd been sitting out For
when you look at it from the sides, it looks pretty damn clean. There's a couple little rust holes coming up in the rear quarters, and the driver's side floor pan under the carpet's got some rots. I'll have to replace some of that, but the rockers are still solid. The bed's solid. So I got lucky because you figure that thing was brand new in '79. I bought it in 1988, '89. So it wasn't a very old truck when I got it. And then I just when I put it away, my dad kept the weeds cut from under it and didn't let the stuff grow up and rot the frame out or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, the interior's still there, but it needs a good taking apart and redoing. But overall, it's not a total loss. Like it's in better shape than I thought it was going to be for sitting there for so long.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the doors open and close real nice, and they're now all rotted. Tailgate's gone, which again, like you said, too, the things are notorious. So tailgate's the first thing that rotted on them. But overall, it's going to be worth fixing up, and they're going for such big money. I can't believe it. I'm seeing 78, 79 Broncos that are fixed up or clean or just survivors that never saw rust going for 25, 30 grand. It's like, holy crap.
I know, it's crazy, man. Because a few years ago, you were getting them for like $4 or $5 grand. It's just
right.
It just seemed like everything's gone up.
Yeah, and
it's fucking nuts. But
I'm glad too because all my knuckles and pans. I still got quite a few projects up in the rafters that I'll be pulling down. But I was buying all that stuff 20 some years ago. Where back then, it was still a little crazy, but it wasn't like it is now. Now, if you got one little knucklehead part, this dude thinks it's like a gold block, and he wants $1 million for a stupid little part, and it's like, you're crazy.
Yeah, I know. What do you got? What do you got going on for bike projects now?
Well, in my shop, like I said, a 55 KH is in there. It'll be my little race bike. My buddy Newt Milo rebuilt that motor and used all KHK internals. I got KR heads on it from my buddy Denny Perry, who's an old racer here in Prior Lake. So that's going to be a fun one. Kind of making it look like the bike that Fonzie, jumped the Shark Tank with back in the old Happy Days era. And then I got my buddy Mario Sanchez. I had built a 38 ULH for the Liquor Show in Mama Tried a couple years back. It actually has original John Harmon Spurter on it. And I had to sell the motor to pay for it to get a new septic at her place. I didn't have the money, so had to sell something to make the septic go through, and took the 38 motor out, sold that to my buddy Will Thomas in California, and he's going to put in a really cool project and keep it. So I was excited that at least it went to somebody good. And then Mario was all about that Harmon Spurter and the way it looked, and he's like, dude, would you sell that? And I'm like, I don't know yet. Well, lo and behold, he had bought class bikes from us in the past. He had one. It was a Sucker Punch Sally roller with a S&S generator shovel, a 93-inch dual plug head Jenny shovel in it. And he was like, dude, because Harmon, that was in the 70s, so yep. A 38 flathead really doesn't fit the look of a John Harmon because they weren't, it wasn't something he was using. He was using big inch shovel heads. And so Mario kind of talked me into it where, hey man, if I can get this from you, it's gonna be my keeper bike, my keeper chopper. He's got a couple other choppers. He's like, I'm gonna sell them. He's actually giving me a roller off of one of his other choppers. It's got just a normal Springer. But he's like, I'll put this Jenny shovel in that bike and make it, kind of a tribute to Harmon that way. So I'm excited. That's in my shop. We're kind of getting that thing put together right now and getting it ready. And then my wife's, I don't know if you remember Amy's knuckle, but she's had an 47 knuckle forever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she's ridden the wheels off of that thing. So finally, I'm giving that some love. I'm going to get it up on the lift, and I'm going to be doing some actual video segments with I don't know if you've heard of Fix My Hog.
Yep.
They do like tutorial videos, and they got millions of followers and all kinds of stuff, and they want to use me and videotape me kind of, hey, let's look at this old knucklehead chopper. What do you need to look at? Because there's a lot of people out there now that are just, I got to have a knucklehead. They're running every swap meet and garage sale looking through parts, see if they can find a knucklehead and don't know what they're buying. A lot of times it's junk, And,
oh yeah.
So I'm gonna kind of go through the bike and say, hey, look at this old ratty chopper. If you came up to a swap meet or something, you saw this sitting here, and you were all just starstruck. I don't care. I just want it's a knucklehead. I'm going to show you things you should look at though first because you don't want to get screwed. And then we'll tear it down, and I'm going to rebuild it from scratch within, we're going to hopefully have it tore apart and put back together running in 2 days. And I'm putting a new frame. The frame she had was cracked and some other things. So that should be interesting and fun. Get Mama some fresh set of wheels there for the 47 and get her back on the road because she loves to ride.
Yeah, that's rad.
Oh, and then my 16-year-old son, which is pretty cool. He just turned 16 last year, and I gave him his first Harley. I gave him 77 Sportster all stock, and he's got the bug, so he's actually excited. And I had kind of a crazy experience last summer. I was picked to do some Harley videos with Jason Momoa, the guy that plays Aquaman, and he came to my property for 4 days and was filming us and doing some commercial work for Harley. And we started talking about the history of what I did in the class, and I showed him. I still have my original Sportster, my 58 XLCH up on the shelf in my shop that my dad gave me, and that bike inspired me then to build my first Panhead in tribute to my dad. And that first Panhead, you remember that black one?
Oh yeah. And I remember that was tribute too. I remember that.
Yep. So, and I had to sell that bike years ago. And Jason was like, he's like, dude, this is crazy. Like you got that Sportster from your dad. You built this Panhead tribute to him. Now you just gave your son his first Sportster. He's like, you got to have that Panhead back, man. Your kid needs your first Panhead. And I'm like, yeah, I wish I could do it, and blah, blah, blah. And my buddy who bought it is Josh Arment, who owns a Little Monkey Tattoo here. And I got a hold of him. And he says, yeah, man. He goes, I'll sell it to you if you want it. He had told me that even before this. And I can't afford it. I'd love to buy it back. I just don't have. Well, Jay, after talking with Jay about it, he said, let's go see it, or let's go buy it. I'll buy it. Let's go find it. Well, my buddy's got it. We went there, introduced Josh to Jason Momoa, and I don't know, they went off and talked for a little while and walked out of there, and he said, hey, I bought the bike, man. It's mine now. It's like, sweet, okay. So we get home, and the bike was stored somewhere else. So Momoa never even saw the bike yet. He just bought it sight unseen, so I want it, I'll take it. So all right, cool. Well, I go get the bike. I ride it back to my shop, and he sees it pull in, and he goes bonkers. He's like, I know this bike. I've seen this bike. Where have I seen this bike? And I'm like, well, it's the one I always had at the smokeouts, and it's my first big chopper class build that I did where we got in the horse magazine. And I said, and I wrote a book, and right away he stopped me. He says, how to build an old school bobber? I'm like, yeah, I bought that book to build my first bike, my first Panhead. So it was like crazy. We're like, holy shit. So I had a book in my shelf, this book, and he's like, yes. And he grabs it, and he pulls his camera crew and goes, hey, you guys, look at this. And they all recognize the book. Like, yeah, that's the book you used to build your bike, Mabel, for Road Diploma. And he's like, look at the name on it. And they're like, Kevin Baas. Like, hey, wait a minute, the guy we're here filming, he's the one that wrote this? And he's like, yeah. And we're like, what are the odds? It was just crazy. So then he's like, yeah, I remember this bike, and man, it's cool. And then also, that's how Momoa works, man. This dude's got a really big heart. He's an amazing person, I can't say enough good things about him because a lot of people say, oh, those Hollywood stars with all that money, they don't give a shit about nothing. They just buy whatever if they don't really care about it. But Jay has the vintage bike addiction, man. Like he loves old bikes. He's got a lot of them, and he rides the crap out of them. They're not just sitting in his garage. He's wrenching on them. He's riding them. But anyway, he says, hey, Gavin, get in here. He calls my son in. My son sits on the Panhead. He's like, he has the camera crew start filming, and he's talking about how, like, Gavin, you realize, like, this bike was inspired by your grandpa, and your dad built this in tribute to your grandpa. And he's like, yeah, it's cool, And Jay's like, well, on camera, let's start a new story. And he says, right now, I'm going to tell you that in 3 years from now, when you turn 19, I'm going to give you your dad's first Panhead back as a gift from me. And it was like, we were just blown away. We're like, you got to be shitting me, Everyone crying and hugging. And, it was an amazing emotional moment that was really cool. Like it showed that he really cared. Like, cause he saw the history of that bike, how it helped him too on some stuff and how it meant so much to me and my dad and the father-son tradition. And he saw it in his heart to say, you know what, this bike belongs with you guys. I'm going to give it to your boy. Like, it was like, that was just so awesome.
Yeah, that's rad, man. That's rad.
So 3 years from now.
Yeah. That's rad. You had mentioned something too, like you've been doing a little bit of ice racing.
Yeah. We just had a buddy of mine, Garrett. He's got a little group called the Polar Devils, and they all have pre-54 hot rods and a lot of 31 coupes and really cool cars, like cool cars, like not just jalopy pieced together junkers. These are these are really classy cars that are done right, you know, and they look cool. They got the look, they got the parts, they run good, and they use them, you know. And he got a hold of me and said, "Hey man, I'm my Polar Devil stuff here. We're going to put on a little ice race, you know, February." He's like, you know, and right away I was thinking about you. Like, we got to get that old knuckle of yours out there ripping, because I got a 1939 stroker knuckle that I've been using as my race bike. He's like, it would be a blast to have the cars and have you out there with your knuckle. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm in, I'll do it. So we start talking about it, and he's like, I don't know where to have the race, so blah blah. Well, it ended up I took him to the lake right down the street from my house. It was the perfect lake. We picked that as a location. So then he kind of brought me on as a partner now to say, hey, let's get this thing promoted and see what we can do. Well, I got quite a few friends in the motorcycle world. So when I posted about it and had some pictures of my knuckle on the ice when I started the tires, it went nuts. And literally it was a month away from the event, with me barely even promoting it, just kind of word of mouth and some social media. We went from thinking there'd be like 200 people showing up, maybe. The day of the event, there was over 2,500 people there. And
Nice.
We're like, holy shit, we're on to something here. And we didn't charge nothing. We didn't do it to make money. We just did it to have fathers bring their sons out there and look at old cars and old bikes and just try to get these next generation of little ones to say, hey, that's cool. Someday I want one of those, you know? And now we're going to work hard for next year and actually, you know, try to get sponsorship of, you know, if you know any sponsors that are looking to get their name out there, we're going to have sponsor banners around the track and do it right, you know, and have security and food trucks and all the good stuff to make it more. Because the sheriffs basically what happened, the sheriffs came out after about 4 hours of us racing and shut us down, so we had to stop.
Yeah.
So we want to do it right next year, so they can't do that to us. We can do the whole day and
get
whatever.
Do all the permits and all the bullshit.
Yep. Yeah. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'll probably, I'll be blasting it once I get the dates and more info, and I'll be looking for sponsors. So spread the word once you see it and see how we can get this thing growing. Yeah, maybe get you guys all coming out to visit us now. It'll be kind of like the old reunion of the smokeout days.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Only it'll be cold out.
Yeah. I was always cool with the Mama Tried show, like, you know, that they'd have the ice racing the next day and stuff, and it's interesting. And it's something that's not as big out here as I feel like it should be. You know what I mean? Like in the Northeast, but I mean,
it's like anything. Once it starts taking off in other states, and more states see that, hey, let's do that too, and let's keep it going. You know, I mean, there's a lot of energy that needs to be released in the winter. People are bottled up. They're sick of sitting in the house staring at their bike. And hey, guess what? You can come out here and watch a 1939 pre-war knuckle just freaking going balls to the wall sideways around corners. You know, it's like sweet.
So they're racing the cars too, the old hot rods too on the ice?
The hot rods are racing and the bikes are racing. It was we didn't really have any rhyme or reason other than we knew we only wanted to have two at a time.
Yeah.
So basically, it was just a gentleman's race. You'd be in the pits and you just grab a guy. Like, hey, dude, let's go. I want to race you. All right, let's go. You know, nobody cared who was, hot rodded up faster or not. It was just for the fun of it.
Just for the shits and giggles. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
We had a drag strip set up, and then you could do the drags, which is just down to one side stretch is like a quarter mile, a little less than a quarter mile drag strip. But then if you did the whole track, the whole oval, was actually a half mile all the way around. So you could get some good running and going around that thing.
That's awesome. Like, so on the hot rods, like I know it goes into like having a, do ice racing with a bike, but like, what do they got to do? Like, do they like have spiked tires or some shit or like chains?
They put these. There was a couple with chains. There's actually a couple of really old ones that had like rope around them, just like the old school way.
Yeah.
But lot of studs, they put in big meaty mud tires and, skinny little tall, big lug tires, and they would just stud them up with the cold cutters.
Yeah. Oh man, that's gonna be. You guys got a video of that next year, man, because people would love to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we had drones out there filming and a bunch of camera crews that showed up. So if you go to my Instagram, like Kevin Teach Bass, you'll see a lot of pictures I've been posting as people send me stuff. And there's a lot of neat stuff. And we had a company out of California, Tobacco Motorwear, came in and they're using us to give us all their gear to wear. It's Kevlar gear and stuff, so we can wear it while we were running. And so they brought drones and stuff to use it as kind of a promotional piece for their gear. So I think once they're done with their piece, there's going to be a really cool probably 5-minute video that shows the whole process of, they came to my shop the morning of when we were loading the bikes. They were at the races. They came afterwards for the post party at my shop. And then they came another day where we just kind of did a reflection out back in my place, and we were ripping around Bass Acres on the bike. So, and they had these drones going nonstop. So they got some really good footage that I'm looking forward to seeing.
That's badass, man. Yeah, it's cool because like I've seen vintage, bike motorcycle racing, but I've never seen old hot rods out on the ice. That's going to be something.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like I it's kind of that trog, if you've heard of the Race of Gentlemen, it had that kind of vibe,
Yeah.
It was neat.
Except on the ice, not the beach. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but nobody left our races disappointed. Everybody, like, we got the race for 4 hours before they shut us down. So we all got in a ton of laps, and we did a bunch of races. And, even though, we wanted to go another 4 hours, but, the crowd got to see what they came for. We all got to get out there and put on a show and have some fun. And so it was actually, it worked out pretty good. And next year is going to just be bigger and better. And I'm just excited, man.
So you gotta like test the ice to make sure it's going to hold up, or what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we got lucky this year too, because like 2 weeks before the races, we had like 35 below. It was just colder and cold. So that stiffened up the ice real good. I mean, there was probably 2 feet of ice. But you got to worry about that if you have a mild winter. Like, how are you going to support all those cars that come out to watch and stuff? And then we'll see though. I mean, I got a vintage bike show coming up this summer that I put on, and my buddy Jared Enger, he's from Wild Turkey Customs, a good local buddy of mine. Him and I are working together. Last year we put our first vintage bike addiction show on, and we had over 20 Panheads and probably 20 Knuckles and 15 to 17 shovels, and it was just crazy, all the old bikes that came in. It was pouring rain all day, and we still had a huge turnout. So we're looking forward to that now this spring to get that show going again, and then hopefully we can start promoting, so I can promote the Polar Devil, the cast iron leaker winter stuff at the summer shows with Jared, and then in the winter promote for the summer show with my other partner Garrett. So it's kind of like it's a revolving wheel here to try to get both these shows kind of piggybacking to help recruit and promote and have them really grow, because we know this summer show is going to really be a big one too, because looking at how many people we had on a rainy day, we get a good weekend, man, and some camping set up. It's going to be a blast.
Absolutely. You got like Instagrams or anything set up for either of the races?
Not for themselves yet. We're just hashtagging right now, so basically once I do that, I'll probably blast it, and I'll put stuff out to all you guys. Hey, here's our new account. If you can promote it for us, get it out there. But right now my Instagram's pretty big. I'm not posting just that stuff, but I post a lot of it, and I'm always hashtagging like Polar Devils Racing, and my little motorcycle name for my old stuff is the Cast Iron Leakers. So I got like 6 other buddies with the old cast iron bikes that we all got the shirt just for fun. It's not a gang, it's nothing serious, just for fun. And for us, it's kind of it's a fun way to go out there and just have some brothers that you love and trust and have a good time with.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, good, dude. I mean, anything else we haven't hit on, man? We got to do another one of these when we're both drinking at a show together. You know what I mean? It's always seems more impersonal over the phone, but unfortunately, the way it is right now, and I'm infected with the COVID and fucking, I can't go nowhere and fucking, it's just shitty times right now. But once everything gets back up, we got to do another one. But before we wrap up, anything we didn't touch on today?
I guess, I don't know, man. It's been a good talk with you. I feel good. I feel like I just got off the couch with my shrink, man. And like, I'm feeling energized. Like, man, this is cool. I'm sure I'll think of something after we hang up. That's usually how it goes.
Yeah, but
overall, I think we covered a lot. And, I love my wife and kids, and family first is always in front row. Everybody should remember that. We work hard, we play hard, spread love, not all this drama and BS that the media is shoving down our throat. We need to get everybody on board to just not watch the news and just spread positive energy.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it just seems now more than anything, the news is just trying to spread like fear and divisiveness.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. So thanks for having me, dude. I'm so stoked. Yeah, I miss it, man. It's been a long time since we raised some hell, man. We've had some good ones in the past. And now that we're getting older, we're getting wiser, I think. But we got to make sure that we all cross paths sooner than later before it's too late.
Absolutely, man. I got to get out there to see that ice race and shit, man, for sure. I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure flights to Minnesota is cheap as hell in the winter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Not a lot of people coming.
But yeah, man. So let's keep in touch, dude, and then hopefully this summer or something, or fall or something, we run into each other somewhere, and we'll catch up and do this again, man.
Cool, man. Well, thanks again for having me, man. Appreciate it, and to everybody listening, thanks for the support. And, we'll catch you guys down the road.
Cool. And then, so your Instagram's at Kevin Teach Bass. And then, what was any websites? Like, I know you had the site.
Yeah, our main one now is littlefishdesigns.net, N-E-T.
Okay.
So littlefishdesigns.net. That'll take you to kind of samples of our work. My wife kind of runs that now and has an Etsy store to sell stuff. And my Bass Metalcraft's still a website, but I really haven't updated it in a long time. And, my Instagram, just to make sure everybody knows my last name is German, so it's not spelled like fish. It's B-A-A-S, not B-A-S-S.
Yeah. And I'll put it in the show notes. Yeah. So, if you don't remember the spelling, just go check out the show notes and there'll be a link right there. But it's Kevin Teach Bass, B-A-A-S.
Correct.
Yeah. But well, fuck yeah, man. Next time we're gonna do it, we'll do it over a beer, and we'll hopefully be at a show raging or something. You know what I mean?
Love it, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for thinking of me.
All right, talk to you soon, bud.
All right, take it easy, man. Heal up, get well, get rid of that COVID crap.
Yeah, no. It's not that. It's like a bad head cold, dude. It's not like, I mean, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? I know everyone experiences differently. It's just, I'm still at the shop, but I just have to lock the doors. I can't let anyone in, and it's just like, and I'm catching up on all the paperwork and accounting shit that I've been slacking on. So, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to be welding and grinding too much right now, because it's like, I can hardly breathe as it is, you know what I mean?
Right.
But
all right, man. Thanks again. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. I'm going to shut this off.